Hello world, how are you all doing? I hope all you're doing great, and welcome to another live stream where I'm going to be developing on the open focus timer. And like last time, I want to dive right into the app because again, we don't have that much time. I have to go a little earlier today or go a little shorter. So I already prepared open focus timer part 32, and I'm going to skip the update session and what we did last time. Just watch the end of last time. But here are the next steps that we want to work on. And we're going to just continue working on these things. Just one little update, and that's my app RemaFox, which I've been developing and also using, as you can see down below here, during the stream, has now a final app icon. Thanks for everyone who took part in the survey. Definitely much appreciated. And beta 3 was just released 21 hours ago. So just yesterday I released this new release. And you can see here how the app looks. And there is an app icon chooser now in the app, in the settings. Just go to the general settings and then choose the app icon you prefer. And then you can basically change the app icon here. It's also a feature I've never seen in any app. So yeah, what was cool to figure that out. And you can see also the entire changelog of what changed in the beta. Basically a lot of bug fixes this time around, and some more improvements that I did here. You can see the whole list of bug fixes that I did here, and I really focused on making sure that the app is stable. So I hope that it is now stable and you can actually use it. And it was relatively stable last time. I mean, it's not destroying anything, only some things were not working, but now it should hopefully work. Anyhow, let's get into our open focus timer app, and it's quite warm here. Also, I had to close a window, so I'm sweating a lot. All right. Let's get into the app, and this is where we left off last time. So we implemented this screen in our main tab under statistics. You should be able to see here that we have, let me make this a little smaller, you can see the full thing. So we have two statistics here, two stats, and the top one is basically about, let's go to the statistics screen, statistics view, there we go. Let's get rid of the preview. So we are walking basically through our category groups, and we have two groups in our default data, so they can actually be more than two. And for each group, we're basically saying, okay, each category, we show how much time was invested on that category by simply using the total time tracked. And this is fine, I think, for like the first statistics that we're adding into the app. But we want to improve this to make this more clear what these are about and how you can make use of them. And Apple themselves have some suggestions here, and we have written down the things that we want to do. So first thing we want to do is add a title to clarify the time range and give some context on the y-axis. So the y-axis in our case is the numbers here, 0 to 40 and 0 to 30. And we basically want to say, what is this? Is this minutes, seconds, hours? It's not really clear right now. And the way Apple suggested is to do this is by highlighting some value, for example, the largest value, and just saying how many hours were spent on it. And then from that context, from the title that's sitting above these type of things, it should be clear what the y-axis has as a unit. So let's try that. And I have no idea if the chart library itself has support for a title or something. Let's just figure it out. Not really. There is like, no, I don't think so. Let's actually Google Swift charts title. Not Taylor Swift. Hello, Swift charts. Okay, this is the video. Do they have, let me search for title. Shows important information in title. That's all right. I'm thinking that they're just putting that in their own view. So we just have to add text here. And in our case, it's just above the chart. I'm not sure if we need a VStack, but let's just try by adding a text and saying some title. And of course, we don't want to see things in the build app. Instead, let's get back to the statistics feature, build it, and then hope that the previews are working. Mark Prox, thank you. Welcome to the stream and subscribing right away. Thank you very much. That's very much appreciated. How are you doing? How's your day? And I believe it's the first time you're subscribing, so yeah, welcome. And how did you, like, what do you also do with Swift development? How does it come that you subscribed right away? Do you have questions? Do you just like the content that I'm doing? All right, let's update the preview here. Did I say it right? Mark Prox? I don't know. All right, the preview is always taking a bit. I should add something above myself, stating something like last subscriber, something like that. I just didn't do it because I didn't want to spoil, I didn't want to make my screen smaller. So, I mean, this is already small text, depending on your screen, of course, but yeah. Don't want to make this really small. All right, we can see the preview now, and I hope this is not going to come the poster board. All right, so I can't see the title. Oh, come on, please. All right, try reopening. I've watched a few before. You're a very good presenter. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. That's good to hear. I don't know. Did you learn something in this in these streams? Oh, come on, please. How can I fix that? All right, we have to Google this. Poster board quit unexpectedly. I think we found something last time. Poster board quit unexpectedly. And we are on Xcode 14 beta 6. Let's see if we can find anything. Yeah, this is definitely we're not the only ones who had this problem. Grid simulator, collections crashing, switched SDK. Oh yeah, that was the fix they had. That was good now, no high CPU usage. Oh, what happened now? I don't think we can switch down. If we build now, I think it will fail because we're using Swift charts. Obviously, yeah, it's going to fail. I don't even have to try it. Anyways, let's just hope it's not going to happen all the time. I mean, last time it did kind of work. So what's the content? Oh, Mark, I missed the yes Mark because it was marked as first time chat. So Mark, what kind of content do you like most from what I produced until now, and what would you like to see more of? Maybe I can adjust and make sure that yeah, more people can actually make use of it, or is it just like already fine and I should just continue with writing apps in the open? Yeah. All right, we are here for the font, and I want to just add a title font. I want it to be really big. Okay, just maybe a bit too big. Yeah, that should do. And then we want it to be on the left, and I have the feeling that it also changed the size of other things, right? No, I didn't. Okay. All right. Let's use title 2. Just to be sure, I want to put it into VStack because I'm not 100% sure this is going to work. And VStack, I think, is the right way to go here. Let's add no spacing between the chart and the title. All right, much closer, much better. And what Apple is doing is they're actually adding like a frame around the whole thing. So we might consider doing that as well. And one way of doing that is I could add a padding here. And then I could give this whole thing inside a color. For example, background, let's just do gray. See what that looks like. All right, and then we want to also go around the corners. I think it's called corner radius, and let's go for 15. And obviously we don't want to have the full gray, but maybe light gray. Or actually, I think we have secondary, maybe that works. Not really, let's go for background. Is there something like that? Background color, an official one? Yeah, but I think it's white. So we could either make the whole background then different. Anyways, I'm just going to go with secondary, but opacity 0.2, 20%. That's looking more like something, but maybe even that is too much. Let's go with 15%. Just a little bit is enough. I guess 10%. But then adding some shadow maybe. Shadow, color, secondary. I think the content is good as it is. It is a great educational resource to have available. Great to hear that. I hope that's going to be helpful to some people. I just have the problem, or if I would like to learn from these kind of videos myself, I think I would only watch them if I really have to work on the side anyways, which is fine. I think that's the kind of content I'm currently doing. So you can just let my stream run, or on YouTube, you can just let my content run, and then you can do whatever you're doing, and from time to time just look into it. But I personally would wish for also some cut content, and that's actually something I'm planning to do. I just didn't have time because I'm working on my first app, and the kind of content I'm trying to do or planning to do is just making smaller clips of specific things I did in the stream, so people can just watch specific topics if they're interested in learning specific topics. But yeah, I have to find some time to do that. I get to that. Radius is not secondary. The color, I thought it was asking for a color. Anyways, let's just use the radius for background. I think it's the how much is going. Oh no, not the whole view. Can I put it just into the background? Something like shadow here. Does that work? If you want to know if it's finished, I'm looking here to see how far we are, but it seems like this is not possible. Alright, I think that's fine. If we just have the background, then I will just make it not just 10, but like 15%, 14%, something like that. Agreed, it would be great to condense down a set of sessions into short tutorial videos, but it would probably be a lot of effort to do the video editing. Yeah, I was not thinking about the whole sessions. I was thinking more, for example, when I started this app, I set up my project, right, with my project structure. And then later I maybe refactored my project structure, and then I improved it over time. And then the idea would be to make one video on project structure, like how to set up a project and how I developed it over time. And then this would be like a 5 to 10 minute clip just from different parts of my streams where I just worked on these things, and just trying to also condense it, as you said, into something shorter, where the whole thinking I'm doing, for example, when I'm sitting here and I'm thinking for 10 seconds, trying two things that are not working, just cutting that out, and then you just have like the success path basically, but also so you can see still the development over time on a specific topic. And I have multiple such topics. I have one project setup, I have, I don't know, how I do translations, maybe how I configured my Xcode, that's also something that I did. And all these kinds of topics, how I work with core data, how I define those models. And I would not go into all the core data files I have made there, but into one, for example, or how I thought about the app icon, which is currently here, the app icon that we're using for open focus timer. If I have it somewhere here. All right, not here, but in the assets, I should have it. So the app icon, it's really ugly right now, but you can see the thought process behind it. And then I just designed it quickly in Figma, I believe. And this is just the first iteration. I'm going to do more iterations on that, and like designing the app icon would then be a video. That's something that I'm planning to do. But it's good to hear that you would appreciate that kind of content as well. All right, so we have some title there. Let's stick with the background. Let's not over optimize. I think it's good enough. Instead, the only problem we have is now, of course, the contrast of this text has gotten worse. Maybe we can change the foreground color of this to primary instead of secondary. So the texts get darker. No, it changed the... maybe we have to change the accent color. Let's make it black. I hope it's changing the titles. No, it's just changing the content. Anyways, those would be all great videos. Yeah, great to hear that. Just have to find the time. I have to first finalize my release of my first app because currently I'm an indie developer that's not making any money because I don't have any apps out yet. And I think it's important to get the first app out with which I can make money because over time it's going to just produce some money, and then I can invest time into other topics. I also have the iOS course that I'm going to do, so that's also something I'm looking forward to. Okay, I tried to fix these texts here. I don't really know how to change the color of the texts. Let's Google that. Swift charts, change color of legend. I don't know, maybe there is even a legend on this. Legend. Oh, chart legend. There we go. Visibility, position, alignment, spacing. I don't see color. So try how to change the legend color. Oh, there's colors I can define in the data set. All right, that's interesting. Oh, I'm not sure if this is new. Oh, this is 2017. Swift charts, custom legend Swift charts for iOS 16. There we go. Chart legend, position, trading. Okay, this is the position, that's clear. Treasure legend, foreground, style, scale. Okay. How can I change the color? Let's try to find out. Here. A chart. I think the colors here just change the content, not the legend. What else I could do is, alright, I'll just try to go the easy way and just use 10% here, 0.1, then the contrast should be fine. I'm not really liking it. Anyways, I'm not going to stick with that too much, but let's leave a comment so we have to, so we don't forget to fix it later. Developer comment, developer warning, I mean, and we're just going to write down fix contrast of legend currently not high enough. Alright, so we can fix that later. Instead, we want to continue by rounding the corners, corner radius. Oh, I changed the wrong thing. Of course, I wanted to change this here. And corner radius, I'm just going to go back to 10. You can see here, Apple is also has included an image here where they do something similar, but theirs hasn't done no corner radius. Let's try 15. Let's try 20. Yeah, 25 maybe even. Okay, I want to go back to 20. I think that's fine. Now let's give that title a little bit of padding. Just go with the default one. Alright, this is starting to look like something. Now we want to show some actual useful text here. So what will be the most interesting takeaway from this chart? So we have the different projects. Do we care more about the total hours invested? Or do we care more about the highest? So the one we invested most in. I guess if you, maybe we make this later, we make this chart interactive, and then when you press one, you see the number of that, but maybe you see it down below here then. So maybe we want to do total right now. Yeah, I guess total kind of makes sense. All right, so we want to do something like total, and what is it actually? Is it hours? Total time tracked, and it's provided as a time interval, I believe. Yes, and we should probably not provide it as a time interval. We want to do it in hours, I think. So this is an extension in Handy Swift on time interval, just converting to hours. And having that in hours, I think it makes also sense to have the time here in hours. So total, what time is that? I think it's all total, yeah, total hours invested, total hours worked. Maybe like, let's do an example number, like 20 hours worked in total. I guess that's kind of the text we want. All right, let's do this, but we want to do it, of course, localized. I'm going to use RemaFox for that. So let's start it with my shortcut, and I believe we have to rescan things. All right, no project was selected. Oh yeah, I deleted everything, so I have to reset it up. Let me actually cancel this. Go into RemaFox and open that config file. All right. This looks like it is back, so it should now work. All right, there it is. Okay, so what's the key? I think we were using this, there are lowercase keys, right, in our localizable strings files. Yeah, lowercase, and this is the statistics feature. Statistics feature, and we're providing a what kind of chart is this? Group or work time chart dot title. And our initial English translation is going to be 20 hours, but this is a number, and actually want to show hours here, I guess. So we actually have something where we want to use the feature of RemaFox for pluralized text. So you can see an example of it here. The suggested structure, actually I'm going to change it to that very soon, is to use uppercase and things like that. I'm using lowercase, that's fine. But then just using braces like with Swift types, so like if I would call an initializer, I just provide a name for the variable. So in our case, the variable is hours, or total hours, even more correct, total hours. And then I just provide the the type basically, and the type in our case, you can also see all possible specifiers here: a string, an int, an unsigned int, and a double. In our case, an int, although we do have a double. I think we do have a double, yeah. So let's go for a double, but we want to have, and it's recognizing that we are actually using a pluralized one now, and we're also getting warning here. The selected project doesn't seem to contain any localized string-stick files. Please add a localized string-stick file and localize it in your project, then click refresh the string-stick file. So we have to add that first. Let's go and do that. So where's our localizable strings file? It's here. And at the same place, I'm just going to add a new file. Let's add it right into the languages. And it's a strings dict file. You already named it all automatically, localizable strings did. And instead of creating another one, I'm just going to hold on Shift on Alt and just move it here, so it copies the same file here. It's empty anyways. All right, now we have localizable string-stick files, and now rescan the project. We found it, and now we can actually say something here that is for the case of one and for the case of many. And I just have to provide the two cases. I'm getting an example here, and the same for German as well. Let's make this a bit bigger. All right, but I don't wanna show the full number because this is a double. This can be like a 3.5678331. I don't wanna show the full number. Instead, I wanna make it a bit shorter. I think just have one, like 15.5 hours, something like that. And there is a field with specifier, and you have like a cheat sheet here, and that's also very convenient, I hope. And you can see an example here. Average %.2f means that we will have two things after the so we can have 15.52, for example, but we want to have just one, so 0.1f. All right, now let's provide the values here. This is %.1f hour, so this is 1 hour worked in total, and this is %.1f hours worked in total. And there's a typo here. All right, and the same in German. All right, this should be it. Let's include it into our project. Let's go back to the Swift file, see if it worked. Okay, the inclusion did not work, but when this doesn't work, I guess because we changed the file, you can always just paste. Oh, I can't edit the file even. What's going on? All right, that's weird. And this is disabled. Okay, so something went wrong, I guess because we changed the file. So this is a showstopper. Actually, there's a lot of problems with Xcode support for source editor extensions, and we might just have run into another one of them. So I'll just end the whole. I will just restart Xcode basically. That's the fix for this kind of issue, and I have to write an FAQ entry for that. I already wrote one for if you can't find. So there's a trick. If you can't find, it can happen in the extensions here. If you can't find the Remafox entry here, or no, the Xcode source editor entry here. If you can't find this thing here, overall, this can happen. You just have to rename Xcode, for example, to Xcode 2, and then back to Xcode, and then this fixes it. Really weird one, but it works. And likewise, sometimes this just disables. Like this, and you just have to restart Xcode to make it work again. And now we should be able to paste this in, and it did work. All right, you can see we can now provide this value here as well. And for the value, we need to just pass the total track time of all projects, of all track times. I think we just have to get this data first. We don't have it right now, because we have here the category stats by group, but we don't have the overall. So let's calculate that. This is total, how's it called? Tracked time? Total time tracked. Total time tracked. Time interval. Why I'm not getting an auto completion for this? Oh, something broke with my packages. Let's update again. What's going on? Oh, app entry point is wrong. We are in, this is actually, let's just go to app. Time interval, there we go. All right, to calculate this, we are actually in the statistics feature. Let's make the files to build smaller, the context for it. And now for the total time tracked, to calculate that, I think we can just fetch here. Actually, we can calculate that first. We can just say time focus timers, try context fetch focus timer dot fetch request, and if we just fetch with the default request, I believe it's fetching all. So I'll just say after we did that, self dot total time tracked equals to, and then we have all our focus timers, which is an array, and we're just going to reduce on that array, starting with 0 And on each here we have the accumulator, or how does Apple call it, partial result, and a timer. And in here we can just add to the partial result, which is 0 at the start. We can just add on that the tracked time, which we don't have here. So how do we calculate that? Total time track, focus timers of category, reduce. We're also reducing here, and reduce into is always better, faster. And we're using running duration. So it's running duration, and we're basically doing the same calculation, and we don't have to actually name this partial result. Let's actually just do it like that, and use also $1. So if you have never used Reducer yet, definitely make sure to look them up. They can help calculate things like this really easily in one line of code. And this should now calculate this value, and this should be set after the init. Yeah, it should be. Although when this fails, yeah, it failed errors then anyways. And then we should have access to the view store dot total time tracked. All right, let's see if that builds. Looking good. By the way, when we added, we have RemaFox, the new entry. RemaFox took care of adding this value into this string in the right way, or should have. Yeah, let's put them all here. So yeah, there you can see we have the new entry. It has the name, statistics, feature, work time, chart, etc., like we called it. And it gets like the one case, the other case. And you don't have to deal with all of this to create it. If you're using RemaFox, it's really easy. And it also added it to the other language. And that's exactly what it's there for, to simplify all of this. All right, this is now building, and we can see 80,000 hours worked in total. Yeah, something wrong with the 80,000. Is it changing each time we build this? Not really. Anyways, it's just a sample value. It's fine, I guess. But I want to make it left aligned. So let's actually, I could either say here frame alignment. And that's, I have to get used to this in X440. So I can say frame alignment, and I will just add that. All right. And we just want to do a leading alignment. So that's one way I think we can do it. And it actually does not work. The other way, which I use more often, is just use an H stack, move this into it, and just create a spacer here. And maybe the padding can be moved outside. And this is not really, let me see. Yeah, it fits into one line. That should be fine. Yeah, it's now left aligned, and maybe we should add a dot at the end of our strings. So let's actually go in here and just add a dot at the end. Yeah, maybe in some future version of RemaFox there will be an easy way even to edit these things. But for version 1, I focused on the workflow of adding a new translation, and a lot of other small things like normalizer, and linter, etc. But maybe sometime we'll get that as well. Okay, please update. There should be a dot now. Go, you can do it. There you go. Okay. This is the title. Now it's clear what y-axis things we have here. And this finalizes basically this point. So let's move this up. All right, we implemented this, and I think it's time to commit. Let's see what changes we have. So updated the dependencies. Then I believe last time we added this context thing, and I hope this is building. I think it's building. We also included it here and here. Do we really need these changes? I'm not really sure. See, are we passing it? Yeah, we're passing it here. I guess we need it because we have to pass it along for the statistics feature. And here we have some basic view with chart, very basic chart. Oh, we didn't even commit the chart. That's interesting. We use the category name, some hours. We have some title. All right, let's add here implement first first charts in stat view with total hours as a title. All right. One step forward. Let's get back to the project. So what do we want to do next? Fix x-axis cutting some names. All right, that's true. We can even see it in the preview here. It's cutting names. And how can we fix that? Is there a way to like put one here, one at the bottom, one here, one at the bottom? Let's have a look at the API documentation. I believe I saw something. I mean, in this case, we have the width of the iPhone and we have 4 categories that were created for this category group. Oh, by the way, it's not clear what category group this is about. Oh yeah, we need to add a subtitle for that to give more context. So that's another text. And it's going to be category group or just the name of the category group. Yeah, let's just use the name of the category group, which is, we have the group here. So we can just say group.name. And let's just give this font of, is there something like sub? I think there's headline. But I want to have a foreground color secondary, so it's not the same color. It's not full black. Oh, it's an optional. All right. In that case, let's fall back. It should never be nil, actually. But to make the compiler happy and never have a crash, let's just go this way. And oh, it's an H stack. I need it in a V stack, of course. Another V stack we have to add here. But the size is fine, I guess. Oh, why is this not on the left? Spacers on, oh, this, Can we go restack, alignment, leading? Does this fix it? I think so. There we go. In that case, we don't even need the EH stack. We just needed it for the left alignment, but I guess with the V stack. That's another way to do it. You can also create a V stack with just one view in it and just say alignment leading here. And then it should be all left aligned, but it's not left aligned actually. It's not the case. So we do need the H stack. All right, let's keep it because you can see the space here. It's going to disappear now. Yeah, there you go. And let's catch that Pokemon. All right. This is project, this is task type. Maybe we should give it something like group, something like that, like group, right? But of course we want to localize this, so to localize it we need to go another way. And we're just going to add another key using RemaFox. And in this case we are still in the statistics feature. And we are still in the, how do we call it? Work time chart. And this time it's about the subtitle, I would call it. Subtitle. And we will have a parameter here, which is going to be the name of the group. So let's give it a parameter as well. I'm just going to call it group name. And now we can just state the whole string here, which is going to be group. And then %at. And again, you can use this as a cheat sheet. So whenever you need to use, and of course not string, but %at here. Whenever you need a string, you just put %at here as well. And then we can just say same for German. Now I hope it's going to work when I add it. And this time it worked. We have it here, and now we can specify the group name here. We already have that code. So let's just copy this. Nope. Misclick. And then paste it here. There we go. Now we should have this subtitle with a group in front of it. Group project. Yeah, kind of works. Be a bit spacing between these, like 5, but less spacing around this. So just let's just try top spacing here. Okay, we also need the other one, or we just correct the default padding, which we just keep as default, and maybe we don't need the padding at the bottom at all. So let's just do horizontal padding here and top. So this bottom one disappears. I like the spacing between these. What's wrong? Why is it not building? Can I run? Yeah, it's building, so the preview should be building as well. And this should disappear. I think just something wrong with the preview. If we remove the paddings, does it work then? Yeah, it works now. That's weird. Let me add one padding at a time. Adding back horizontal. That works. And now top. The top one makes it fail. Can I put it all in one? Insets. How can we create edge insets? That's maybe too large of an API. What other paddings do we have? Edges. Oh, come on. The edges, top, leading, and trailing. Let's try this. Maybe 2 paddings. The preview gets the preview confused. Alright, this works. Then let's keep it like this. I'm not sure if we really need these here. Maybe this will work as well. I don't think so. I'm not really sure this will work. Nope. Alright, let's use an array. That's fine. Now we have the title, we have the type of content, and now we want to make this also visible. But let's go back. Fix x-axis cutting names. Yeah, that's exactly what we want to do now. How can we fix that? Let's look up into the API, what we have available here. So I had already found creating a chart. Yeah. All right, before we continue there, a quick break. As always, getting some fresh air, stretching, and drinking water. Let's all do that together. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. All right, so we're back, and let's continue with our search for finding how we can make our legend text fully visible. So, by the way, I had an idea that, we have this text, and if we go back into our database, so if we just go into our model, we will find that each category has an icon and a color. So what we could do, we could just show the icon maybe colored in this color, or even what we could do is, let's go back to Xcode. Where is Xcode? Oh yeah, we are in Xcode. We could also color this whole bar in the category, which I think makes a lot of sense, and then provide the icon here. So let's actually just go for that instead of finding some weird solution here. And for that, we could just go here, and instead of providing a category name, we could just go for the category icon maybe. Or can we provide, there's the x-axis, this should be, I think the icon is unique enough, yeah. Category icon. And then let's just go for the icon. Is there an icon? What's it called? What's category, type category? This is icon symbol name. All right. And do we have an extension for category extension? Icon image, there we go. It's icon image. Icon image, let me try that. Does it have to be text? Can it be an image? We will know in a few seconds. If we can't use the image, we will put it into a text. All right, this doesn't look like we can. Instead, we will use a string and just interpolate inside of it an image where the image with the system name of the category stat.category.icon image name. I believe it was icon image name, right? I don't think we need this anymore. Let's see if this builds. Not yet. Category has no member icon. Okay, what was it called? Category icon symbol name, of course, symbol name. And this is an optional, so in case we can't find an icon symbol name, let's use SF symbols. Where's the SF symbols name? Oh, SF symbols. Hello, test. Does it work now? Sorry for that. Sometimes my microphone just dies off. I don't know. I'm not getting informed about it, and I don't know how to fix it. And I don't know why it happens, but it just died off, and that's why you didn't hear me. And now I just disconnected it and connected it again, and now it works. I don't know. It's really weird. But thanks for the pointer. Otherwise, the YouTube video would be like silent for a very long time. So glad that there are people who are actually listening and telling me about it. So the building does not work. Let me try to help the compiler know what types we have here. So this is a string. This is the icon image string. And then we have the category name string. Let category name. And let's really teach it explicitly. This is a string. This is also a string. And now let's just combine those icon image string with the category name string. Or we could also just go and interpolate it. So we can put like a white space between those two. Now we have icon image string and category name string. All right, does it compile now? It does, and does the preview work now with the icons? So I'm hoping that we will see the icons here. And it's still building, and no, we're not. So we're seeing image provide something. Let me switch to Mac preview. Is it going to be bigger? No, it's not. Orientation variants. Yeah, let's go to landscape. Image provider SwiftUI image. So definitely we can't use images in strings inside of Swift charts. So we just found another, at least not in previews. And that's a bummer. I was expecting we can use them. In that case, what can we do? We also can't provide an image here, right? We can't say like category stat.category.icon image. It does not accept an image type. It has to be a string type, I guess. We can also just look it up here. X value and label key has to be localized string key. All right, we have that. And then the range, chart bin range. Chart bin range, what's that? Okay, this is with a calendar. That's not the one I'm looking for. This one here. What's this? Okay, if this doesn't work, let's open the documentation here. I'll go for chart bin range. Just happened. All right, chart bin range. Chart bin range. All bins except the last for a particular chart represent an open range, meaning that the range doesn't include the upper bound. All right, the last range of the last bin is closed, so okay. So this is a range in the end. I'm not really providing a range. I mean, if I provide a string value, it's not a range, is it? This is really weird. But maybe we're not using this one. What else do we have? Value. We just have these two. So we must be using one of those. That's really weird. So a string is a chart bin range type, as it seems. Let's go back to the examples here provided. X value, and then they say shape.type. All right, and the shape, the type, what type is it? This is a string, okay. And then it's just shown at the bottom here. I can customize it. I mean, we could add something like this, a legend, but for the full names. But I'm not sure if I want to do that. We could also just not show anything there at the bottom. Instead, we just show it in a legend. Maybe that makes sense. You know what? Let's try that. And that's maybe something that I can say as something to learn from here. I just had an idea how I want to fix it, but you should not be really fixed on a specific idea on how to get something done, because I just learned I can't use an image here. So now I could try to make SwiftUI charts somehow show an image here, but then maybe I'm going to take much longer to fix my actual issue, which was the x-axis, it's cutting names, so I can't see the full names, and that's the actual issue. So it's some idea we have, and we want to fix it in a specific way, and we try that. If that doesn't work, we should not hang on to really this or be fixed on this idea. We should be always fast in just throwing it away and trying something entirely else. And that's maybe something to take away from here. So we're going back to the name, and then we have to fall back to something, because this is an optional, unfortunately, in core data. But this should build now. And instead of doing it like this, I think we can do something with the legend and change its position. I want to change its position. Let's go with position only. What can we do here? Annotation position. We have leading, bottom, training, overlay, top. Let's test them all out. So what is leading? Let's refresh the previews. I'm guessing it's going to be on the left here. Not really. Okay, what is overlay? I don't think anything changes, so maybe I'm expecting something wrong here. So let's see what they're doing here. Chart, foreground, style, scale. This is that. Then we have foreground style, value, shape, color. How do they do this here? Oh, they provide another dictionary, but for these specific values. I just want to provide them for these. Foreground style value. Foreground style by. So I can set different styles by some specific things. But then what does this chart legend do? Configures the legend for charts. Well, we say we want to place it as an overlay of the item, shouldn't it? Put, where is it now? Now we are in Xcode. Shouldn't it put the name here on top of it? That's what I would expect to happen here. Do we have to put this on the bar mark? I don't think so, because it's called chart legend, right? Should affect the entire legend. But I guess we don't have a legend here. This is just the x-axis naming or something. Do we have something for x-axis? Chart x-axis. That's the visibility of the x-axis. X-axis label. There we go. Label position. And we can also provide a label key, but I guess we don't need to do that. Although, let's see what it would look like. So x-axis, label key, and let's call it group. Or, yeah, group. A category. It's a category, sorry. And position. Wasn't there a variable called position? Yes, there is. We want a label and position. Category and annotation position. Top. Let's see what happens. Let's comment this out. Let's make this one bigger. Is it failing? Oh, tube. What is a tube? It's failing again. Why is it failing now? Build succeeds. All right, maybe the case here doesn't work. Let's try without position first. Let's see what happens. If we just add a chart x-axis label. I'm expecting that this will all indent, and then we will have the label here, and then we see less. Hey man, Monsieur B, how are you doing? Jeremy, welcome to the stream. I was seeing your stream very recently, but then I didn't have time to really jump in. But how are you doing? How is your streaming going? I'm doing great. Doing great. We're working on Swift charts. You can see we're working on UI stuff. So this should be things that you care about. And I actually have a problem here with the color of these text here because I want to have this kind of rectangular thing around my statistics, my charts. But then the color of this doesn't have good contrast anymore. I don't have the API, or I can't find it. Maybe this is the API. Can we set a color? No. Yeah, I have to find a way to change the color of these things. But yeah, how are you doing? Just dropping by, workday's over for me. Oh, that's great. That's great to hear. So your whole week is over, right? So nice weekend for you then. Did you already watch the, I don't know if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, but did you already watch the Rings of Power first two episodes? We started the first today, so excited to watch the second later in the day. I think that's going to be a great weekend topic. Okay, this whole thing doesn't work anymore. Why is it not building? Let me remove the chart x-axis label overall. Maybe we should read about that. Chart x-axis label. Okay, there is no such thing. This is for the visibility. This is the content. Where did we find this label thing? Alright, that's interesting. To see that it's not even available. So maybe we have to say something like chart x-axis, provide x-axis contents. And how would this work? So let's read about that. Chart x-axis. Ah, very good documentation here. Oh, that's not very useful. All right. Doing good, thanks. I'm keeping this episode for tonight. I'm a big fan of Tolkien too. Oh, that's great to hear. So, yeah, I tried to listen to this Silmarillion book that basically is about the whole lore and history of the Lord of the Rings world. And yeah, it's really hard. Like as an audiobook, I think I listened to it that way. It's really, really hard to listen to. It's so much unrelated stuff, and just like it's like reading a history book, right? It's not really story behind it. And yeah, it's hard listening to and understanding all the names. It's like dropping names every few seconds that you can't really. But that's why I'm really excited about the new season about this show, because I'm hoping that then I can really relate to those names much better. Coloring is a mess on SwiftUI. There is no consistency between components. Yeah, I wish that Apple provided like a color system, right? Like a design system for coloring in SwiftUI. I mean, we do have something. I mean, I'm using it all the time. When I do like, I think I have it even here. There you go. So I'm using like primary and secondary. I believe there's also something called surface and something called background, but it's just not good enough. Like just primary and secondary, it doesn't tell you the contrast between them and things like that. So yeah, and you can also not customize it. It's just the default primary, secondary, and you can't really change that. Read when I was a kid is true, like a history book. Yeah, I didn't read it. I never read it. I didn't even know that something like that existed. I think I also didn't read the books. So I have to admit here, officially, I didn't read all Lord of the Rings books. I just read the first and start of the second, I believe. But I listened to the audiobooks at least 4 times, so I do know the whole story. It's not like I don't know the story. I do know the whole story in the books. I just didn't read it all. Yeah, but I think audiobooks should be fine as well. Still listening to it when going to sleep sometimes. So I think it's a great thing to listen to. And audiobooks generally, I think are a great thing, especially of books that you already know but love. And also long books. It's great to sleep to put it on while you're going to sleep, because if you put on like a podcast or something, you miss most of it, and that's not great. That's not a great thing. All right, chart access. We have to provide chart access. Let's look it up. So do we have an example here? Chart access? No. SwiftUI chart access. Chart access. Let's see if we have documentation here. Maybe there is documentation on the website, and no, there isn't. This is the access content, very useful. Maybe this has more data on it? No. All right, in that case, let's use an example chart access configuration. What do we have here? Where's the x-axis configuration? Hidden, okay. That's not what we want. All right, we can provide axis marks. All right, let's try. Axis marks. Have format, preset, position. So what's the format? What do they do here? Nothing. All right. Maybe we get auto completion. Nope. In that case, a preset. Automatic extended. What's extended? Position. That's what we already know. Let's go for top. Values. How do they do that here? I'm not seeing anything. I think if I don't provide a values, X mark values, it will go and use the X, just at the default values, I guess. And stroke, I can provide a stroke. That's interesting. Let's go with nail. Oh, let's actually go with nail like this, so we remember the type. Maybe we can play around with it later. Does it build? So how are things going for you, Jeremy? Here for coloring the chart. Oh, thanks. Styling Swift your chart with Swift Framework. Oh, thank you. Sample data and bar chart. Okay. Bar mark, X value, okay. We have that. Foreground style, okay, we found this. Background, that's also easy. Border, what does this look like? Okay, that's the whole chart border. X-axis, there we go. Axis marks, ticks, and labels. Access value label. Access tick is the mark that the chart draws on. Okay. Access grid line is the line that runs across the plot area. I don't want to change everything. I just want to change the label. But how can we? Oh, chart access. Ah, I see. I see. So I can provide entire content. So, okay, we didn't find that here. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, it doesn't need to compile. Let's go back and let's just copy something from here. What does this look like in our chart? In the middle of an article, there is something for the axis. Thanks. Yeah, I think I found this. A label, font, and color. Ah, there we go. Construct text here. Oh, I can even customize the whole text. That's great. That's like at the end of the article. You might need that as well. Well, let's try. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, preview is not building, I think. Yeah, preview is not building, so let's run the app. Okay, I'm giving up on the preview here. Let's run the app and see what this looks like in the app. Let me turn off the... let's get the app. Oh. Let's get the app full screen again. We wrote the article, by the way. No name here. No name, wow, okay, this is on SwiftUI Interesting. Alright, so this is changing the color here to red. And I guess these are cyan now. I can't really see it in detail because it's too small. But I believe, yeah, they're also dashed. So that's how we can change those. But I'm actually happy with those. I really want to change the label color. And they have this code here. Let me copy that. Which is if let int value as in self, text int value kilometers. Okay, they're changing the text here even. I actually want to keep the text as is, so I'm just going to say like value. And then font, I can change, okay, value. We have to say the type. What is this as? That's interesting, as string.self. Alright, they're giving it a size. I just want to change the color to gray. Now let's do something different so we can see if it works even first. Cannot find value in scope. Okay, how did they do it here? X-axis, values. Oh, values, automatic value. X marks values. Okay, have the value here. Now it should build. Oh, that sounds like Breaking Bad in the background there. Sounds a lot like Breaking Bad. Cannot find value in scope. Oh, this is an optional. Alright, alright. Let's do it exactly their way. But obviously with string. This should build now, hopefully. Yes, let's see the preview now. Oh, well, we are on the app already. Yeah, let's run it. All right, it changed it to blue, which is specified here. All right, this works. I can even change the size, which is nice. I could even now, I guess. I'll use automatic. I wanted to do like one here, one below, one here, one below. Maybe I can do that now, but I need an indices somewhere here. So axis marks. Format, automatic. Which one are we using? I think we're using this. Preset, position, values, and content. A Fompy appears. Let's catch it. So to offset them one by one, I need to know like their indices or their index, but I don't know a way how to find that out because we don't have a collection anywhere here. We're just using this and we get this value. We could look this up in our original data and check out the index that way, which is time consuming because each time we look it up, it has an O of n complexity, which means like it can be slow. I don't want to slow down the app just for a small thing like this. I think being able to just change the color is already great. And now we can also maybe put the position elsewhere. So we did have this other code we had down there. Let's look what this looks like when we run the app. I mean, let's see. I really want to see the position overlay, how that looks, because if it puts it into the bars, we don't have any spacing problem anymore. And that would be actually the perfect solution, because we might have someone who has a group that has a category group that has like not just 4 categories, but maybe 10, maybe 20 categories. And in that case, it's not going to fit into any like horizontal area. So, oh, it's not building. Yeah, it's not being able to build this. Let me go back here, say axis marks, and use one with position. Oh, we can also get the whole values. So it's interesting. There are so many APIs here. I really don't know which one to use, but I'm going to just use the position one. Say overlay. Looks like these are all required. Are they required? Axis marks. How do I know which fields are required? Position. So we have one where format is required. Is stroke required? I have no idea. Position. Yeah, format seems to be required. What styles do we have available? Is there automatic or something? Components, currency, time. Oh no, we don't have format here. Axis, marks, position. Yeah, we need to provide a preset. Extended align automatic. Let's use automatic. Position overlay. Values automatic. Contents. I have no idea what I'm doing here. Just trying to get things building and try out this overlay. have no idea what this preset is. X-axis mark preset. I guess some kind of style. No, it's not doing what I expect. I expected because of overlay that this would be inside of these as an overlay. Maybe I need to put it here. No. Why is it still blue? I commented out this code. Shouldn't be blue anymore. I think something is wrong here. Let me clean build. Going off the keyboard, wish you a nice weekend, man. See you next time. Thank you very much. I wish you also a nice weekend, and we'll see each other next time. I'll make sure to jump into your stream as well as soon as I have time. I was kind of busy the last few weeks because I wanted to get my app RemaFox to a state that is stable and working and ready to release. And now it is in beta free, which means I have removed a lot of, I think I forgot to show this here. So if you missed this, definitely make sure to check out my beta of RemaFox. The third one, it's out, and I basically fixed all bugs that I could find, and I still have a few smaller bugs that I have to fix, but those are no blockers. So I fixed a lot of them, and this should be relatively stable now. And the only thing I'm going to do before release is like basically add the payment system and things like that. Currently there is no payments involved, and this might actually be the last beta, so check that out, and you should be able to, if you want to see this link, I can send you a link. So you can download it here, try it out in your project. It's working, and we're using it also here to localize stuff, and we have localized the text above here. You can see this, for example, even with a %add in the translation, it works like this, and it's really safe reference. Have you considered open sourcing it? I did consider, and I will not do it, because if I open source it, people will use it for free, and it's going to be freemium. So it's going to be free for most people, but there's going to be people who need to pay for larger projects, companies, and things like that, or for some pro features. And so it's not a free software. It's going to be freemium. While I want as many people as possible to be able to use it, I have to make money somehow as an indie developer, so some features will be paid, and I can't open source it if I have a paid software, because then people who don't want to pay can just use the open source. They can just copy it, and that's why it doesn't work. And also others can copy the app then and just sell it themselves, and that's also something that I don't want. Otherwise, I would be open to open sourcing it. Libraries, yes. Product, no. It depends. I guess if you have a web framework, for example, Discourse is open source. I don't know if you know Discourse. This is a great web forum software, and this is open source. You can host it yourself, but if you want them to host it for you, you have a pricing here. And the same is done by GitLab as well. So it really depends on the product, I guess, if you can open source it. GitLab, something like GitHub, where you can host your repositories. And this is also open source, although they have an enterprise edition and a community edition and things like that. But anyways, in my case, I don't think like an app, it doesn't make sense. And if you need an open source variant of it, I already have it. You just go here to GitHub, you just search for Body Crouch, which I also developed in this stream. And Body Crouch is basically the command line tool that can do pretty much the same things like RemaFox, except RemaFox just is better in any regard. It has a UI, it supports string stick files, and there's a bunch of other things it can also do. If you're really interested, you can just have a look into the RemaFox repository, just go to releases, and I actually have a list of differences in the beta 1 release notes, which has, first, it has like a GIF of how it works, and it has the improvements over Body Crouch. So you can read this section basically, and this lists all the things that RemaFox improves compared to a body crouch. But if you want to use it, something open source, body crouch is still around. It still works. There's I even still answer and give answer questions and things like that. But why does it not build here? Okay, this overlay thing, I'm not sure if I'm going to get it to work, but we have this working code. And we just have 2 minutes left, so let's leave the stream with something that works. And I'm just going to do this here, this method, not doing these changes. Instead, we just go with a string, we just keep this, we just change. Ah, this is just a color fix. This is not, but maybe we can add the image here now. Maybe we can now say, if you specify category here instead of the category's name, so this no longer is a string. This is now a category object. In that case, we can say category.self, category value, and then we can say category value, statistics feature view. No, this should be category. That's category. Oh, module.category. Module.category. Now we should be able to say category value dot icon image. Let's see if this works. If it even builds. Oh, Jeremy, you're right. I should add a command for Emafox. That's a good point. Conf5 module. Model. My bad. Sorry, compiler. It's my bad. Should have called it model from the start. It doesn't conform to plottable. That's interesting. So we have a requirement for these things here. I need to be plottable. What is plottable? Let's look it up. Plottable. A type that can serve as data for a labeled plottable lines that you draw on a chart. What's the requirements of plottable? It has to have an initializer primitive plottable. And return a primitive plottable. So it looks a bit like raw string convertible or something like that. And our timer is getting over, so let me finish off the last thoughts we have here before we close off. What do we have? So this category thing didn't work. Instead, what we could do is we could provide an ID here, which is going to be UID or string, which would work. And then we would have the value here as an ID, and we would be able to look it up in our own data. 30 seconds left, get it compiling. Just hit undo until it compiles again. That's what I always do. No, we don't want to do that here. We could just continue even if it doesn't compile from where we were. But I think that idea is something we should now write down, and that's what we could start with next time. So do we have an ID here? Let's look it up. Doesn't really have an ID, but I believe in core data you always have an ID, which is the object ID. What type is it? ID. It's of type NSManage object ID, which I suppose does not conform to plottable. All right, let's not use that. What we can do then, category, we could use the name. We could stick to the name and we could just filter. This is the category name. Let's just stick with category. And then this would be a string. This is the category name. And then we could go into our view store. I hope we have access to it. And in our view store, we could just go to, let's go back to the store. What do we have? Category stats by group. category stats by group. Category group and then category stat. Do we have category stat? Does that have an ID? Yes, this does have an ID, and it uses category.id, so category does have an ID. I guess that's just as managed object ID. No, it's a string. Oh, it's the name. Okay, so it's using the name as the ID anyways. In that case, we can look up the category stat by its ID. So we go into this and we do have the group here. Yes. We can say categories by group, I think that's called. Category stats by group. Stats by group. And then we can access the group. Now we have an array of category stats. And now we want to find the one with the ID. And we just go first where the ID equals the category name. Let's go with the name here. Equals the category name. And expect that to always be available. So let's unforce and wrap it for now. And this is the category. Now we can call category.iconImage. No idea if this compiles. Could compile, but it's definitely also not very readable, so we should probably improve that implementation here. Yeah, it does not compile. I don't know why. Something here doesn't. Okay, let's just write down the idea and we will continue from here. Oh, this is just the optional string issue. We can fix that. And then maybe we should not force and wrap it. Instead, we should say if let. And now we need a brace here. And let's just move this inside of it. In the else case, we can just let's try without an else case. This is, I think, one too much. The indentation is definitely wrong. Let's close this off. Let me see this full on. So this is that code, and then if let, we're doing this. Maybe we should have an else. I don't know. Okay, we're going to continue here next time. Let me just write down here. Or let's do it as an actual to do, because to do comments we can't commit, as the linter will fail then. And we're just going to write continue here. By, that's like the keyword I'm also always using for myself when I have to stop working and continue later. I just write down my thought. Continue here, and then by so what we were doing is we went to, what were we actually doing? Trying to provide the image. Okay, continue by providing the image colored in the categories color, the icon image, colored because there's color instead of the name in the axis label, something like that. I think I will understand that. So let's also make sure that we move everything that we have changed into staged. So next time, if we do changes, we know this is what we have already done the last time, and these are the new changes. All right, that's about it for today. And for the end, as a reminder to everyone who missed it, this is RemaFox, my new app, and it is not finally out yet, so it's not available on the store. But I am already on beta free, so I have already fixed a lot of issues. And if you want to test it out and send me some feedback, make sure to just download it from here. You can just find it on twitter.com. Let me post it here as well in the chat. So make sure to also follow it if you don't want to miss the release announcement, which is also going to be very soon. I'm planning to just make it ready for release and then release it as soon as possible. And I think it's going to be still in this month, so it should just be a couple of weeks away. to see it on the App Store, and it simplifies your translation. We use it today in the stream, and definitely make sure to check it out. Otherwise, thank you for everyone who has joined in. Thank you for also, again, Mark, thank you very much for the subscription. It's very much appreciated. I hope you're going to be here again next week on Friday, where we will continue on the Open Focus Timer. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like it right now down below. And everyone else, have a nice weekend. Have a great watch of the new TV show about the Lord of the Rings world, which is called Rings of Power. If you don't do that, sounds like I'm making advertisement for it, but I just actually am a Lord of the Rings fan. So yeah, see you all around. Have a nice weekend, and thank you very much. Great session. Have a good weekend, you too, and we'll see each other hopefully next Friday. Bye.